Hey everybody, welcome to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalano along with Dan Fates. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And Dan, we know what everybody likes. They like what they saw, yeah.
Yeah, you're probably going to like this blog.
Yeah, it was a dominating performance. Look, you draw up and you have all these keys and all these metrics of what you want to do. I don't think even the coaching staff would have drawn up certain metrics for this game, like, I don't know, 7 drives, 7 touchdowns. Like, nobody plans for that.
And it's not only that, and people can say, oh, the Patriots this or something about that. This was the Patriots in the postseason. Like, this wasn't a Week 13 throwaway game where you're playing a backup quarterback and a banged-up defense. This was an NFL playoff game where Josh Allen was nearly perfect, Mike.
Yeah, 7 drives for touchdown, no punts, no field goals, no turnovers. That has never happened in the history of the National Football League. Brian Daboll is the coordinator. Josh Allen was spectacular. Brian Daboll today is interviewing for the head coaching job along with Leslie Frazier. The Dolphins are coming to see him. They should be coming to see him. Let's give a little Brian Daboll love.
Well, Bill Belichick has coached 472 games, Mike. There's only been 2 times where a team has never punted against him. Brian Daboll has been a big part in both of them. And Devin Singletary gave him a lot of credit, too, and he said he's pulling all the right strings right now, and he is. This was a game that was perfect. And we talk about when a player is in a groove and all these things, but we never talk about necessarily when an offensive coordinator gets in a groove. And Brian Daboll just seems to be pushing all of the right buttons. And this isn't against a garbage team. This isn't against the Giants. This isn't against Joe Judge. This is against Bill Belichick.
Yeah, they rarely had a stressful third down the entire game. And, the Patriots, when you get them down, they're a different kind of team.
Yes.
But the Bills' offense put so much pressure on them. I mean, let's face it, there was a certain point where no matter what New England was able to muster offensively, they weren't going to come back because they could not stop the Bills.
No, and it was Josh Allen. And like I said, we probably don't have enough time on this YouTube channel to talk about just how good Josh Allen was. And I think, Mike, it's symbolic that the opening drive is capped off by him trying to throw it away.
Okay, so I see the play. You're down on the field. I see him, and I looked around. I said, I think he was trying to throw that away. But it's Josh Allen. He makes so many crazy plays, you're expecting him to say, well, it's something Dawson and I work on and whatever. No, what did he say?
He said he threw it and he didn't know what happened. He said he was leaving the field. He thought it was a third down, so he's going off the field.
Because he was trying to throw the ball away.
And he gets to the sidelines. He goes, and everybody starts celebrating, and he goes, what are we celebrating about? And he goes, it took so long for the replay to show up on the monitor that it went about 4 minutes gone by. And Dawson Knox said he thought Josh was giving him a chance to make a play in the back of the end zone. Comes up to him after it and goes, man, that was awesome. Thanks for trusting me. And Josh goes, I was trying to throw it away.
Okay, so I'm going to criticize Allen here. That was a lousy throwaway. You got to throw it way out.
You're supposed to throw it like 3 rows deep. It was a horrible throwaway. But that was just one of the things, too. And he was asked, when you see that happen and a play like that, do you just kind of realize, like, hey, this might be our day? And I appreciated Josh's honesty. Yeah. Like, when that's going your way, it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, it was. And Micah Hyde made that interception on the first drive. That was a spectacular play. I have said to you many times, I trust Micah Hyde getting the football, maybe more than anybody not named Stephon Diggs on this roster.
Yep.
He is incredible. So he makes that play. The amount of yardage he covered to get there, that was an excellent throw by Mac Jones.
Really
that
was.
should have been a touchdown.
Yeah, it really was. And Micah Hyde that was a true center fielder play. And they talk about in baseball that you don't go with the ball, is that you run to a spot that you think the ball is going to be. And that's pretty much exactly what Micah did. Absolutely perfect job of running to a spot. And he said somebody came up to him after and said, how'd you make that play? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, the ball was just there.
Yeah.
Like, even Micah didn't understand how difficult of a play it was. Jordan Poyer said it was one of the best plays he's ever seen.
And then I asked Sean McDermott about it, and I said, Jordan says he's one of the best players ever seen. And he smiled, and he was like, well, I'm not going to give him that much credit. Haven't we been in a news conference after a Patriots game where Sean McDermott didn't want to give somebody too much credit?
Yeah, that's funny how this is all turned around, because this has, and I appreciated also Jerry Hughes saying that, guess what, the Monday night loss was on the back of his mind leading into this week, and the players and the defense said that they have felt, whether they felt criticized as well, it's part of the game. I think they did carry that chip on their shoulder, even being the number 1 rated defense overall. I think that Monday night game where a team came in here and did that to them, I think it still struck a nerve, and I think that was a big part of this leading up to it.
I also think the Bills won the AFC East Championship on this night. I mean, they had split the two games. New England beat them. If you lose this game,
What does Sun Tzu say about
art of war? If you lose this game, just throw away the banner that says AFC East champ. And I'm not diminishing what you did for the year, but if they beat you 2 out of 3 and beat you in the playoffs, you're like, okay, great, we won the division. They needed to prove something. And when I say prove something against New England, most of these guys haven't been around that long. The Bills have been semi-competitive against them and now have started to beat them. And it is still New England, the team that dominated the division. But the Bills won it last year on a down year for the Patriots. This year they had split the two. It wasn't we're the champs, you're behind us. Tonight signaled to the Patriots and to the entire league, this is the Bills division.
That was an embarrassing loss for New England. We talked about, are you embarrassed? That was the little brother growing up, getting steroids, getting to go to the gym, and just pounding the older brother.
Yeah.
And Mike, you had talked about leading up to this week that there was a lot of pressure on the Bills to win this game because this would be such a black eye on Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane that you let this Patriots team beat you 2 out of 3 times, twice in your field, and this was words that we can't probably say on here. It was just a beatdown.
Yeah.
Capped off by Tommy Doyle catching a touchdown pass. And I ran out there on the field to get that handshake between two coaches that, as we have agreed, mutually have a great amount of respect for one another. That was a very, very short handshake between Sean McDermott and Bill Belichick tonight.
Let me tell you something. Sean McDermott is an excellent coach. Sean McDermott has respect for other coaches. But he wanted this bad, and he wanted Belichick bad. He knew what happened. Look, that's the competitive part of Sean McDermott.
Yep.
And what comes out in him at times is, I got you. And he had him in this game. And look, they piled it on. But New England's done that to teams too. They've certainly done it to the Bills. And you know what? It's pro football.
It's
you
the
want to stop them? It's the playoffs.
This isn't week 12. This isn't week 17. You said it before we came out here. Dak Prescott didn't score 7 touchdowns on 7 drives against the Eagles practice squad.
Yeah.
What happened here tonight, or whenever you're watching this, is absurd.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. It's not going to happen again in the playoffs. As great as Mahomes is and Josh Allen and Rodgers and all these guys, nobody's doing this. And Micah Hyde said he had games like this with the Packers, not 7 for 7. It's never happened in the history of the league where a team scored where they did not punt, did not kick a field goal, and did not turn the ball over. They scored a touchdown on every drive. They nailed it. They have now played the Patriots in the last 2 games. They have 12 touchdowns, 2 field goals, and 1 drive where they got stopped on a 4th and short.
Where Emmanuel Sanders dropped the ball in the end zone.
Right. So it should have been. So Sanders, by the way, that was kind of a funny stat. Now, Sanders has had a great career, won a Super Bowl.
Amazing.
But the amount of touchdown passes in the playoffs is a tie all time between
Tommy Doyle and Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah.
Again, you could almost feel a weight lifted off of the Bills players kind of coming into the press conference. And Josh was in a really good mood. And one of the first questions was, why do you struggle so much in cold weather? And he kind of joked around about that. But yeah, I thought it was great. He talks about, he's sick for Emmanuel Sanders because the guy's played 100 years in the league. And as this was his first career playoff touchdown, Tommy Doyle plays 1 game as a lineman catches a touchdown. So everybody got involved. It was, that was the same feeling on the sidelines as it was when the Bills beat the Chiefs back in week 5. Dancing, emotion, because you got them.
Yeah.
The team that had kicked you when you were down, they were the ones that got to do the beatdown.
Yeah, they did, and they dominated. Good play by a lot of players. Levi Wallace getting a pick. Defensively, Jerry Hughes getting a sack. Like, they made plays there.
One player that I just want to point out, A.J. Klein is a human missile with 0 regard for his body.
Very physical player.
He is so crucial to stopping the Bills running game. And if he didn't test positive for COVID that Monday before the Bills played, I think that'd be a different game because he is a difference maker in the Bills running game. And he's not somebody you don't talk about. He's not necessarily a starter. He is so important to stopping the run.
Now, I will say this. I'm not a big proponent of week-to-week momentum because it's a different game. This team feels great about themselves, and they should. But think about this. In all likelihood, and we'll know more as of Sunday night. They're playing the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are not the Patriots. It's a totally different game. You're talking about Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, awesome offense. It's a different game. Can the Bills score on them? Absolutely. They're not going to score on every drive. And can the other team score on you? Yes, you can. That's why I say it's week to week. But in terms of the way this team feels about themselves, they should feel good because they went out and put together a performance. I'm going to tell you, I covered all the Super Bowl teams. The 51-3 game here against the Raiders is what that felt like, where they knew and the opponent knew. And I remember going in the locker room talking to Andre Reed and James Lofton, and we were like, what were the Raiders saying to you during the game? And they were basically in the second half like, just stop it, okay? We're done. Like, this is over. They were ready to go. I cannot imagine that the Patriots, if they were being honest, wouldn't be saying, this team just beat us down.
And guess what? There was a lot of jawing in between whistles. Another cliche, I'm sure Jen is a fan of these ones. These two teams don't like each other.
Yeah.
But what we'll say is you talk about momentum and that it is different week to week. But one thing that will carry on, and I can't believe we've gotten this far into this blog without talking about him. If you're still listening, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But Devin Singletary has maybe the most confidence. And again, hand up as a guy that I said I thought Zach Moss was the more complete back. Devin Singletary has turned into the clear-cut number one, has become a difference maker, has become not an afterthought, but a guy that makes plays, gives some energy, tough physical runs. What he's done, adding another dimension to this offense, has been outstanding and something I could have never saw coming.
All right, I'm going to stick up for you a little bit on this. In the terms of the running game, if Devin Singletary and the offensive line were performing like this earlier, you would have said, well, the running game is helping them. There were times when handing the ball off to a back just seemed like a wasted down. Not anymore. And it's also helped this team have a more physical identity. And it's gone through the entire team. All right, spectacular performance. We're going wherever the Bills are going. If it's Kansas City, we're heading out there. If it ends up being here in Orchard Park, we'll be here, complete coverage all week long. For our entire team, Jenna, Dan Fates, I'm Mike Catalana. Thanks for watching, and as Dan said, like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you the next time on Buffalo Plus.